Turn the back and now enter. Turn the back and now enter. Now on to point D, roll call verification of quorum to the secretary.
Senator Solomon. Senator Solomon. Senator Hemphill. Senator Finley. Senator Dumas.
Present.
Senator Antoner.
Here.
Senator LaVille. Senator McClinton.
Present.
Senator Seniors.
Present.
Senator Hansberry.
Present.
Senator Ford. Senator D. Jackson.
Here.
Senator Jean Baptiste.
Here.
Senator Miller. Senator Butterfield. Senator Knox. Senator Strong.
Present.
Senator Myers.
Present.
Senator Young.
Here.
Senator Pozier.
Present.
Senator Williams. Senator J. Jackson.
Present.
Senator Hall.
Present.
Senator Rios. Senator Eden. Senator Osborne.
Present.
Senate Pro Tem Morissette.
Present.
Senate President Ford.
Present. Now moving on to point E of the agenda, approval of agenda and minutes. The agenda was sent out to you all last night. At this time, I'll now entertain a motion to accept the 6th session agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's probably move a second to accept tonight's 6th session agenda. Is there on readiness at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes can be explained. We're having technical difficulties with the Senate computer. They'll be done as soon as we get that handled. Alrighty. Now we want to point F, introduction of guests and speakers. Is anyone to my left, your right, that would like to introduce themselves now? Oh, no, you come later on in the agenda. All right, your left, I'd like to
Yeah, the
introduce
bridge
yourself.
is working. It's something on that. When you guys in, the bridge is working. I just dialed it from upstairs.
Decorum, please, Christians. Seeing none, welcome to tonight's meeting and hope you enjoy. Now we want to point G, my bad, announcement committee report starting with ANS liaison.
Oh, there is no report at this time.
Thank you. LFC,
There is no report at this time.
ENA,
We have no committee reports today.
SRC,
There are no reports at this time.
IDSC.
Okay, hello everybody. IDSC met for our first meeting today at 11:15 upstairs in the conference room, and we now have a full committee. We discussed the biggest thing we discussed was Senate training, and right now our Senate training for the new senators that are coming in is scheduled for this Saturday, October 21st at 10 a.m. here in the Senate chambers. I will be sending out an email to all of the chairs to make sure that you guys know the information that you're required to present to the new senators, whether it be Robert's Rules of Order or different things like that that pertain to your committee. So be on the lookout for that email. And that's about it. If you have any questions, you guys can contact me offline. Let's have a good meeting.
Any questions for the IDSC chairwoman at this time? Seeing none, thank you. JNR.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Orsborn. I serve as the Judicial Rules Committee Chairwoman for this, for the 47 Student Senate. I sent out a few minutes ago to the whole Senate a tentative timeline with the electronic manipulation schedule, and for first and second reading days, those days that's supposed to be passed and electronically manipulated. Titles 1, 2, and 3 have been passed and are ready for manipulation. Title 4 will be up for today. I'm going to move to put that on first and second reading because we are meeting this week for manipulation for Titles 1, 2, 3, and 4. J Branch is meeting for Title 5 this Thursday. They don't have a specific time yet. And that is all for electronic manipulation. For Document review day, the tentative date is November 11th, so be on the lookout for emails from me regarding updates about that, and that is all.
Any questions? She's the JNR chairwoman. Yes, Senator Hall.
Did your committee time change? Or is it the same, like the committee meeting time?
With the new senators, we're working out a new time.
Any further questions for the JNR chairwoman? All right, seeing none, thank you. Senate Executive Committee / Pro Temp.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rashard Morissette, and I serve as your Senate President Pro Tempore for this 47th Student Senate. SEC tried to meet 2 weeks ago, Friday, on October 6th. However, that did not happen. We could not reach quorum. So what I did was I sent out a memo to the 47th Student Senate, specifically the chairs in my committee, essentially. Each committee had a checklist, and I commend the Judicial and Rules Committee for knocking off everything on the checklist, and I commend IDSC for knocking off everything on their checklist. SRC, I sat in their meeting, and they've made some progress on their checklist, and the things that weren't mentioned at the committee meeting will be mentioned at SEC. So SEC will meet this Friday at 4 o'clock. If that changes, I will let you all know. And with that, yeah, that's all.
Any questions at this time for Pro Temp Morissette? All right, seeing none, thank you. Senator Beck will now enter. Next up, move on to point H, Executive Branch Report. Is anyone here from the Executive Branch would like to report at this time? Executive Branch Report.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
That's tired. Well, good afternoon and greetings, everybody. My name is Brother Harris, and I am the SGA Vice President. And a quick update on the executive branch. This past week was homecoming week. So everything that we kind of set out to do, it was very successful. Shout out to our E-branch because they worked so hard to get everything done. And they had a very long, extensive time where they were just, going back and forth, just trying to figure things out. However, everything came through in the end, and a lot of alum, they were very happy and they were very surprised at the turnout of FAMU's homecoming. So that's a really good thing to see alumni come back and kind of mix and mingle with students. So that was a really good thing. Moving on to things that will be coming up soon. So the Marching 100's 5th year reunion, that will be going on soon. And so from us, they'll just want our support, and they'll just want us to kind of come out and kind of support them. And, our band, they have a lot of school spirit. And so just making sure we connect that and we reconnect that connection back to the campus and to them. I was just talking recently to one of the band directors. He was like, this year we're more so willing to actually come on the main campus and perform more, school spirit type events, how they came on set Friday a few weeks ago. I think that was a really good thing. And that kind of raises up the spirit of FAMU. So we'll also have 90s Beat Out Week, Spring Fling. So we're actually planning that to come up soon. So everybody be on the lookout for the 90s Spring Fling. We actually also have a POA for the Everyday Sexual panel that will be talking about and encouraging more women and appreciating our women here on Florida A&M University's campus, because that's very big on our campus, and we need to uplift our women each and every day, especially African-American women. We have no time to really be bashing people. So we're having a pink out carnival in place of the pink tie ball. Reason being because we really thought about the finances of the student body, more so. Can I hear?
Decorum, please. We can hear y'all. We're doing executive branch report right now. You can proceed, Vice President.
So in terms of the pink tie ball, we're not doing that anymore. However, we're doing a pink tie carnival, a pink out carnival, in place of the pink tie ball because of financial situations, because of the students. We were more so thinking students, they don't need to go out and buy pink tie ball tickets, and they don't need to after they spent so much money at homecoming. So in replacement of that, we'll have a pink out carnival. So I think that'll be very successful. We have some really good, strong leaders on top of that event, so that'll be coming soon. So be on the lookout for that also. Another thing, we're working on multiple rallies. So more so than anything else, that's what I'm passionate about. I know everyone kind of saw the Teach for America lanyard standing up out there. We'll have more representation of like real world situations and scenarios going on. I believe student government, especially here on Florida A&M University's campus, we have too much of a big impact on our community to just do what we're doing now. You know, fighting back and forth between FAMU, quote unquote, politics, which really isn't a thing. However, as we kind of work together and kind of move forward, I feel as if though, like working in the actual community and talking about things like building up African American women and talking about social injustice and educational inequality, I think those things are more so important than anything else. So from the E branch, you'll be seeing a lot more social activist type events and rallies going on. Actually, I just finished talking to a Teach for America ambassador. They'll be coming and we'll be planning an event where we're just talking about different social inequities, things involving healthcare, things involving educational inequality, because those are the things that actually matter. And so after we graduate, those are the things we have to look forward to in life. And so please be on the lookout for those rallies and those different types of town hall meetings and stuff for that nature coming up. Another thing that is very important to us is the nature of gun violence here on campus. And so we'll also be having awareness involving gun violence here on campus because we do know the different policies that were passed in our government on gun violences and stuff of that nature. So be on the lookout for that also. From our e-branch, we're doing a much better job of being effective and efficient. And so everybody can sort of kind of expect a calendar from our e-branch to be coming to you all for November. So be on the lookout for our whole list of events and calendars that'll be coming to everybody so we can keep you all aware and we can kind of keep you all in the loop. We know it's homecoming, homecoming is past, and so we just want to keep everybody socially and actively engaged because it's a sense and it's a piece of the campus that's missing that. I was talking to my profile, actually, my really good friend, Philip Agnew. He was telling me how like the nature of campus have shifted from back then to now, which you can kind of imagine there's going to be a change of switch. However, the social part of, especially being African Americans, all of us in here can relate to one another. We've all had those unjust, and we've all ran into those situations, or we've had foreparents who were enslaved, even Latinas. You know what I'm saying? We can all speak to that. That resonates with everybody. And so, again, you'll see more and more events of that nature coming out and coming about. And be on the lookout for our November calendar. Last but not least, the appropriation bill was signed by President Bruno. And that's that, and that kind of went forward and that moved forward. Other than that, that's it for our e-branch report. Is there any questions from anybody? Yes, Taylor.
What appropriation bill?
There was an appropriation bill sent to President Bruno that was recently signed by him. But if you do want more information on that, do this for me. Shoot me and him a quick email, and so you can ask further questions about that.
For information, it was an appropriation. It was a Senate bill. It was Senate Bill FA 17-001 and 2.
Was it the revisions?
Yeah, it was the Title I revision.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I saw a question right here first, and then I'll take David.
I'll take the one right here first because I'm not in the Senate chamber just yet.
Okay.
I was just wondering when we would know about the revenue generated coming.
We're actually calculating and getting that stuff together now. And so we have SGA directors that'll be on top of that. And thank you for bringing that to my attention. Again, I know our chief of staff, Denver Smith, she was sort of kind of like, we were kind of wondering about revenue from ticket sales and stuff of that nature for the 21 Savage and the 2 Chainz concert. And so we'll be getting that like hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we can kind of share that information with everybody. Hopefully we were on the surplus more then we lost. All of our events, they were more so in the green, more so rather than in the red. So hopefully, and this is a really good feeling that I have, that we actually made money this year instead of losing money, how we have done in the past 5 years.
Vice President Harrison, your time period has expired. You want to move to?
All right, so no one move to extend. Could you please, yes, Senator J. please.
I motion to extend his time by 3 minutes so he can swear in the new senators. Right?
Second.
It's a problem move to extend his time by 3 minutes to swear in the new senators. Is there any unreadiness at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, please affirm by sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. New senators, can you please stand? Vice President Harrison, can you give the oath? Yep.
If you all could raise your right hand, correct?
Correct.
Right. Thank you, Bree. I'm down with last week. Please raise your right hand and repeat.
And law school students as well.
Okay. Can they hear me?
Yes, they can hear you.
Nice. So just simply repeat after me. I, and state your name.
I, Jonathan Mulder,
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
do solemnly swear or affirm
To defend.
to defend,
Uphold.
uphold,
And abide by the Constitution.
and abide by the Constitution
And status of the Student Government Association.
and the status of the Student Government Association
And the policies of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
and the policies of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University,
And to faithfully execute.
and to faithfully execute
The responsibility of the Student Senate.
the responsibility of the Student Senate
And to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, everybody.
Senator Vital, please take your seats. Thank you so much for being here on your original seat. Is there anyone here from the J branch that would like to make a report at this time?
Hey everybody, my name is
Before,
Daryl.
please, you have the floor.
My name is Daryl Williams. I serve as an Associate Chief Justice on the Supreme Court, and I just want to give the J Branch report. Like Bree said earlier, we are meeting on Thursday, roughly 7:30, to revise Title V in the statutes. And at that meeting,
Just time. It says push.
Just like that. Speak in direct answer.
all right, I'll start over. My name is Daryl Williams. I serve as an Associate Chief Justice on the Supreme Court, and I was just here to give the J Branch report in place of Carlin. Like Senator or Chairwoman Orsborn said earlier, we're meeting on Thursday to revise Title V in the statutes. We're going to meet roughly 7:30. During that meeting, as well as the revisions, we plan on writing up a plan for an event to be sent to Mr. Smith. We want to do an event that kind of works as a get to know your J Branch or know your rights event. We want to, what do we want to do? We want to explain the rights to the students, like their rights as U.S. citizens when it comes to police interactions and things like that, as well as their rights as students at FAMU with regards to utilizing the Supreme Court or other SGA people to get their ideas across. And so, yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to give that report.
Are there any questions for him at this time from the J Branch? All right. Seeing none, thank you so much for your yes, Senator.
I move to revisit point G, announcements and committee reports.
Is there probably second move to revisit point G, announcements and committee reports? Is there on readiness at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, please reply by the sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. You guys have a motion carries. We're now on point G, announcements and committee reports. LFC,
Yep. All right. So I spoke with Miss Mary today. We should have a rough estimate about the carry forward amount by the end of this week, hopefully. And then we didn't meet last week, but we're still waiting for the minutes. And I guess the ANS liaison has that. We compiled we actually created a budget timeline, and that will be, I think that was all sent out from Senator Morissette or Pro Temp Morissette to the whole 47th Student Senate. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. But that's about it. Yeah.
Yes, Pro Temp.
Elaborating on the annual budget timeline, I sent all of that out around 5 o'clock today. So if everybody can pull it up, and I'll just go over it real quick before I make the motion to accept it. On the from the third week of October to the first week of November, we will be ASBC will advertise and select those members, the student members for ASBC. From the second week of November, on the second week of November, the annual budget timelines will be distributed, and they will be due back on the first week of December. That will be the deadline for the annual budget applications. From the second week of January to the second week of February, that will be the annual budget interviews and deliberations, pretty much where we will interview these organizations, departments, and organizations and departments. And that's when the Activities and Service Fee Budget Committee will compile the budget. And on the third week of February, that's the projected date where ASBC will present the annual budget to the Senate for first reading. That's where we will entertain questions of intent. And on the fourth week of February, hopefully it's not a long meeting, that is when the budget will be on second reading. And then going forward, if it's approved by the fourth week of February, then we will go into those days where we await the student body's president signature and the university president's signature and all that, everybody else's signature on that long list, and hopefully everything can be finalized by the end of March. July 1st, that's the start of the new fiscal year, and that's when those funds will be allocated. So if there aren't any questions, I move to accept this timeline for the budget.
Point of information, you cannot accept a piece of legislation under committee reports. You have to do it under business.
You can make it into a motion. If you just say I move to accept and go down, it'll be a motion then, so you can.
You can do that later on, but not under committee reports. Look under the look inside the Robert's Rule of Orders. That's what we have.
Jane, our chairwoman. I move to add a new point B under new business, annual budget timeline.
Second. Go back to point E.
I move to go back to point E, approval of agenda and minutes.
Second. We'll probably move to go back to point E, approval of agenda and minutes. Is there on readiness at this time? Seeing none, all fair, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We're now back on point E, approval of agenda and minutes.
I move to add a new point under point P, new business, point B, 2017-2018 annual budget timeline.
Second.
We'll probably move in a second to add point B, new timeline. Is there on readiness at this time? Seeing none, all fair, please identify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, now we're back on announcements and reports. Are you done?
Yeah, that's all.
All right, now we're back on 2.I, Campus Activities Board report. Point of order, you didn't go to Chairman Eden for.
You didn't go.
Chairman, do you have a report at this time?
Yes, I do. Have the work?
Yes.
Alrighty, so hello everybody. ENA met. We didn't meet during homecoming week, but we met 2 weeks ago. We finalized the senior senators, so those individuals will be coming up for proclamations tonight. Mr. David, Mr. Brian, Jeremiah, Pari, and DeMarcus. We're still in the process of finalizing the junior senator. there was a discrepancy going on with a royal court escort applying for the junior senate position, and happened to find out there's something inside the statute stating that a royal court member cannot serve SGA. So I'll send out his I'll relay that message to that individual. Next thing, the reform committee. We're still waiting on President Justin Bruno to send us the individuals for the students that have to be a part of the reform committee. He had a deadline, and I emailed him on top of that. Still waiting on those individuals. I'm also waiting on the traffic court nominees from President Bruno. Also waiting on, well, however, it's 6 weeks now. So he didn't make an appointment for the Associate Chief Justice. So that person I will be nominating is Ms. Audrey Salters. Yeah, and I'm going to confirm, well, the deputies of the E-branch, they're going through my committee this week. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Is there any questions to Senator Eaton at this time? Yes, Senator Rios.
Yeah, how do we take action or to get some like response back from the E-branch?
At this point, I send emails, even though, it's inside the document. It's in there. You have a timeline when you're supposed to do it. I send emails just to be, nice. But hey, next thing I say is do a job audit. We could do a job audit, and then from there we could just go forward with whatever we have to do. But yeah, in my opinion, I just feel like President Bruno don't want to be president. It's just my opinion. But I don't know.
Any other questions for Senator Eaton at this time? Yes, Senator Baptiste.
The 6 weeks has passed for Trustee
Can you
Bruno.
speak up, please?
The 6 weeks has passed for Trustee Bruno to send in nominations for traffic court. So, who then picks the?
Well, the traffic courts is that one is really different because the advertisement had just ended.
Okay.
So he has like that. I think 10 business days.
Okay.
Which will be over by this Friday. So yeah, but he supposedly had those names already, but I didn't get them. So
That's my question.
I'm just waiting on till Friday before I make my motion, and that's pretty much about it.
Yes, Senator Pro Tem.
Chairman Eden, are the deputies going through committee this week?
Yes, they are.
Fabulous.
Most of them. Some of them, they have to go to work, availability classes. In my committee, we're only meeting on Wednesdays, and I'm not altering that. So.
Any further questions for Senator Eaton at this time? Yes, Senator Hall.
Chairman Eaton, do you know off the top of your head where at in the statutes what section it says about the deputies having to come through up for confirmation?
It's a chapter 200. There you go. 200.5.
Are there any further questions at this time for Senator Eden? All righty. Pro Tem.
Sorry, last question. Chairman Eden, other than for junior senator, it was just that one individual who had the whole escort situation. Wasn't there one more individual whose schedule kept conflicting with your committee?
Yeah, she's actually getting interviewed
this week.
This week.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, because it's been like 3 weeks for her.
Yeah, just trying to be fair because she applied at a designated deadline. So.
All right.
Senator Hall.
This question is for Chairman Eden. So, I'm just slightly confused as far as, okay, like you just showed me in the documents where it says that the deputies have to come through committee, or before the Senate for confirmation, just like actual committee secretaries. So are the deputies just, excuse my unprofessional language, chilling right now? Like, are they working like without being confirmed? Because like obviously that's a consistent issue of just how like here in the L branch, the new senators can't vote if they're not sworn in. That's the same thing about like E branch working if they're not confirmed. You get what I'm saying? Like, how can we check one thing and not check the other?
I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's more so they were helping out. It's not really nothing they were doing within their duties. Like homecoming, they were helping out with homecoming. That's like voluntary stuff. I don't look at it as far as they're doing stuff that's like SGA, like not SGA related, but like more so within their job description that would have to be confirmed.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add onto that point that was addressed in one of our revisions, Title 3, I believe. It was addressed, this current situation, it was addressed where it says that any action that a deputy or secretary who has not been confirmed, any action that they take has to be signed off on by the student body president and the SGA director and whatnot. But it was addressed, it just hasn't been passed into law yet.
Any other questions for Senator Egan?
Oh, I got one more thing. I'm so sorry. Oh, and yes, elections, it was successful. Shout outs to the Electoral Commission. They did a wonderful job with having elections. We were supposed to have it on time, but of course, due to Irma, she pushed stuff back. But overall, we still got it done. Congratulations to the new senators. And yeah, so the Reform Committee is coming up, and also after that, we're going to work on doing a ad hoc committee for the online voting language that we're going to add into the election codes. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.
All right. Seeing no more further questions for Senator Eden, we're now moving on to point I, Campus Activities Board. We already know what happened with that. Just for new senators and new people who don't know, there was never called. Last year's CAB never called for an election. There's no CAB this year. Myself and Richard are working diligently on getting that rectified. As of now, there's no CAB. Yes, Senator Rios.
Didn't they have a meeting on October 11th at like 10 a.m.?
They did, but I wasn't able to because I had our engagement to go to. I think Richard was at Jason Rattler, correct?
Yeah, I was. Oh.
Do we have like any information?
To my knowledge, it was a pretty empty meeting. Not a whole lot of representatives from CAB were able to show up to that meeting, except for a select few, probably 2 or 3. So I think that was very successful. But the CAB revisions, I've been working on those. Me and Senate President, we've been working hard on those. So that one will go on first reading next week.
Correct.
Wait a minute, Free. Was CAB funded in our
budget?
No. Thank you.
All right. Now moving on to point J, Lobden speakers. Senator Jackson.
First, we'll start off with Mr. George Olaves on behalf of Olaves on behalf of Rattler Aquatics.
Is the technology working?
What to do a presentation?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is it free on? Or no? You don't know.
Is that working? You have a flashlight?
You might have to open that.
Okay. How much time do I have?
You have 5 minutes, correct?
5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No problem. My name is Jorge Olaves. I'm the aquatic director at the pool.
Have anybody gone there? Raise your hand. Nephew. About 3. This is your facility. And what I'm afraid is that we may have to close in the spring. You know why? No money. And here is a picture. We didn't have a pool from 2006 to 2013. And I was teaching credit classes. You pay for these classes in apartment complexes pool. I've been kicked out because, look at this, look at this. You have a group of African American and a Latino as a rain lead. Picture that. And you are in an apartment complex that they don't want us. They kick us out. My question is, you want us to do the same thing again? Shut down the pool because there is no money. And we go to apartment complexes to teach classes. And the comparison is, in 2015, we got $100,000. 115, if you are no mistake. $115,000. Guess how much money you gave me for this year? 20. And I have to buy chemicals. I have to pay the lifeguards. So it's a serious issue. And there are a lot of students that use the facility. When we get that much money, we get the Guinness of World Record. You saw that, Mr. President. We are in the Guinness of World Record. That's something for you to be proud of. For an HBCU. We are top of the line in swimming. We were, because there is no support. So $20,000 for the whole year to pay lifeguards, and I need at least 6 or 8 lifeguards. Do the math. If they get paid $10 an hour, and they only work 10 hours a week, that doesn't cut it. Just do the math. And that's what I'm here for. I was going to present how much influence the pool has. Anybody in the armed forces? Anybody here in the armed forces? Don't you need to pass an aquatic skill before being commissioned? Where are you going to learn this skill? Apartment complexes. We offer classes. You see my point? Where did the slaves came from? What part of Africa? What part of Africa? West side. What were the trade? What were the trade? Fishing. They were great swimmers. And what happened here is that the conquistadores, okay, brainwashed the slaves, and guess what? They scared the hell out of them to get in the water. And when somebody tell me that African Americans don't know how to swim, it threw my stomach because my grandpa was black. Okay, it threw my stomach. It came from Trinidad to Venezuela. That's where I'm from. And when I see that you cut the budget from 115,000 when we were in the Guinness of World Record, not anymore. Even though with little people, little personnel, we overreached this year. In June 24th, we got 254 people taking free swim in one day. And our record was 199. So we exceeded because I put my effort in there, but with personnel, we cannot do that. So that's my place here. I had a presentation, I explained everything. And there's a challenge to you. Watch the minority pool. Our pool is a documentary. And I speak after the documentary, after the credentials. I challenge you what you're going to do with that. 70% of African American high risk of crime. And some of you have taken my classes. You learn anything. It's important for safety reasons and for career reasons. Guess how much anybody been a crew? Okay. Guess how much the captain average? $200,000. $500,000. And what do they need to do? Some water skills. Do the math. If you pay, how much you pay? But about $1,000 maybe for a week. Let's say the ship have 1,000 passengers, 1,000 times 1,000 in 1 week. That's how much money they make. A lot of money.
Mr. Laves, your time period has expired.
Okay.
I motion to extend this time period by 5 minutes.
Thank you.
And about moving second to extend time period by five minutes. Is there any readiness at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, indicate by sign divide. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. You may get started. You got the call.
Have some time. Okay. Thank you. We have a student that just graduated with endorsement. We do have a credit program, endorsement as well. She became a dolphin trainer. A dolphin trainer. Okay? In order for them to be trained as a trainer for dolphins, they need to pass the scuba diving lifeguard class and all the other internships. For about a year she did. I made a recommendation for her. She got in Indianapolis, working in the Indianapolis Zoo with dolphins. Then she got another one. She applied to about 4. And one was in Philadelphia, the other was in Delaware, and the other was in Hawaii. Guess where she went? She went to Hawaii. And she became a marine science dolphin trainer, marine biology. She's graduating this year. So we're producing this type of graduates. And she's want to have her own place to train dolphin, train marine animals. So these are things that are happening in the pool that I would like for you to know, and please visit us, because we have a lot of things going on. On the 26th, October 26th, we're going to have a major event. And this is come from my classes and the aquatic club. We're going to have a karaoke, okay, from 3 to 6. And then we're going to have an obstacle course with a wet t-shirt relay. What are you thinking? Wet t-shirt relay, okay? And then from 8 to 10 will be a diving movie. And what you do, you get an inner tube, floating on the water, watch the movie from the inner tube. These are things that we plan to do, but without your support, we can't do this.
Record, please.
Who's going to pay for the lifeguard? I only have 10 hours a week for each person. So I may have to shut down the pool in order to have the event. See what I'm saying? Change the hours at times. So I'm pleading you, help us out, because otherwise we cannot open the pool for display. Any questions? Yes.
How much money do you project?
For the rest of the year, it'd be nice to have the back. The 2015. Now, one of the things that it happened before is that the money was shifted to other groups that don't contribute to university. We have the DRS coming to our pool and taking swimming lessons. DRS, this is your school too. That's the K to 12 school. Yes, you have a
We have like a full budget documentation where each
yes.
one may-
Yes. As a matter of fact, we submitted and it wasn't accepted because we still don't have the money. I'm aware of it.
Do we have access to that? Yes. It's actually in the Senate group email. It should be there. The 2017-2018 fiscal budget. It's all in the Senate email group.
Any other questions? I'm here. Ask me. Been here 30 years, and I tell you a little history. Yes, sir.
When is the expected time that you actually?
Well, it'd be nice to have it to tell my staff you come back in the spring. You know, before, because I got to submit that this semester, in that way the papers, you know, it takes a while to process papers, don't you? So I need some time, at least a month to do that. And there are other projects coming up. We'll let you know about those. there is a scholarship right now. I only need the vice president of the foundation for an aquatic scholarship. Anybody interested? It's $2,150 per year. Yes.
Have you spoke with the vice president of student affairs, Dr. Hudson, about this issue?
Oh, he knows. I got emails and guess what? He said that you are the one that will decide where the money goes. Okay? So you got the power, not the vice president of student affairs. You got the power.
Duly noted.
You noted that.
Thank
You got the power. And please, this is your facility. It's not mine. As a matter of fact, my salary don't come from the money that you give me. It's academics. My salary comes from academics. Yes.
Aside from us asking us to help you, who else?
This is a repeat question. I get from academics who pays the electricity. One time I got a bill for $8,000 1 month. Just the electricity and water bill. So academics pay for that. The maintenance. It's about 150 to 200,000 academics contribute. Because the electricity, the water, and other issues with maintenance, it's about 150 to 200,000 that they contribute academics.
Mr. Olaves, your time period has expired.
Thank you. Okay, appreciate your time.
Do y'all have the contact information?
Yeah, I trust you guys doing the right decision. Okay? I don't want to be teaching a apartment complex.
Decorum, please. SRC Chairman, who's next on speakers and lobbying?
Up next, we'll have Ms. McKell Tim, the Electoral Committee.
Hello, everyone. Hello. First and foremost, thanks for having me. You know, it's always a pleasure to be up here. We did have a successful fall election, so again, thank you. Timeline, you know, Irma threw us back, but we still, you know, persevered. Yeah. So, with me being EC, I have two main duties that I keep in mind at all times. It is one, to make sure that elections are running smooth. Everything FAMU elections is handled. Also, to take on the concerns of the members of my team. Recently, the new budget does not provide fiscal compensation for the precinct supervisors, only myself and my deputy, Kaya Ellis. So basically, I'm here kind of needing some money or some direction to find some money to compensate my staff. Yeah, my staff. They don't work regular hours. Per the documents, they have a minimum of 3 office hours. I will send an email of the calendar that they functioned with in the past election, and it was well over 20 hours per week, each of them easily, without complaints. So again, you know, there's old budget. I have paperwork, you know, I can scan it, you know, PDF file, Google Drive. Also, one second. Also, I noticed that a lot of you guys are talking about document revisions. Title 7 would be the election code. The ENA chair, recently we discussed about revising that, but there was a concern during election period, which from what I was told has been a concern for the past elections, and that's the pharmacy P3 students and how they vote. At this point, I'm looking for guidance on how to revise that so that's not an issue every election, because it wasn't an issue this election as it was in the spring. We'll also be having our ad for the 10 business days, as well as ENA chairman will be sitting in on our interviews for our new precinct supervisor, because there is an opening for that. Yeah, so, you know, those are just some concerns I'm bringing on behalf of myself and my team, mainly the compensation. on how we're going to move to accommodate them. They are very hard workers. We have, in my opinion, I'm a little biased, but whatever, one of the best ECs, most productive thus far. So I feel like, yeah.
Senator Hansberry.
Compensation.
Okay, so that's another problem. With me being new to this role, it's my understanding you served as former OFC chair. Okay, yeah. See, I don't have that former experience, and I am a STEM student. So when I do reach out, which I have to through several facets, the president, the vice president, have had several formal and informal run-ins with both of them. There is no direction on where we should go and how we should move. So this is my direct call for redirection or how we're going to move forward, because again, that's not my job. Is to run a smooth election and have a team that's competent, and that's what I did. So that's what my
granted.
But I think there's a lot of organizations. I know for the budget meeting, pretty much family that the student enrolled in, and so every organization is active. So the salaries of the student government association rates cut certain
tremendously.
Yeah. So I think that's something that we all have to recognize, kind of deal together. So the competition, like I said, that may be a problem, but otherwise.
Okay. Okay. So with that stated, not trying to put EC on a pedestal, but I feel like our responsibilities as outlined in the statutes make us different from every organization. We are asking money for different grounds, because at that point, my precinct supervisors serve as volunteers, and I've brought this up in several meetings as well. They're actually volunteers at this point. So to have certain situations in the past where we've had fallacies and different problems come up with elections, that's the risk that we're having right now. I don't doubt that my team is trustworthy, but that's the risk that we're running at this point by not having some means of bounding office hours, because everybody can just decide to not show up. So that's what we're running into at this point. It's a no, we can't fund, but we're going to regulate them by Chapter 600 per their confirmation. So it's a whole bunch of no's, but in the event that we acted on the no, that will be a big discrepancy with how elections are ran.
I'll be going then. None of my senators are getting paid. I feel you from a branch head or EC head point of view. None of my senators are getting paid. Only me and Richard are getting paid. The goal was obviously to get everybody paid, but we don't have funds to pay people, and we won't get funds, or at least an estimated funds, till the end of this week with carry forward, and then we'll then discuss how can we fund people that need it.
Okay, so is there like a level of, I'm sorry, I'm STEM, so is there like a level of priority that you're funding with tentative money that you don't have? Is like there a priority? Because I'm not doubting that the senators don't get paid. I'm just speaking on is there like a level of importance where you fund?
I know everyone's important in the eyes of the
Commissioner Trigger, time period expired.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Eden?
In the state of Florida, it is a law.
Information. He's on. Her time period expired.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm moving to extend her time for additional 5 minutes. I mean 3.
Is it 5 or 3? 3. Is it probably moved to extend time for additional 3 minutes? Is there any unreadiness at this time? Yes or no?
I'm going to ask to make a motion to amend it to indefinitely, because I feel like more senators have questions. I've been seeing more hands, so.
Second. I move to.
I'm ready.
Yes.
I asked you to rescind the motion. The time limit. We have filed a publication today.
Okay, I asked to make a motion to rescind their motion and amend it to say 8.
So move.
I need a second.
Second.
We'll probably move a second to extend her time an additional 8 minutes. Is going to run this at this time. Seeing none, all in favor, signify by sign divide.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. Thanks. All right. Yes, Senator Jean Baptiste.
I motion to extend her time by 3 minutes.
Second.
We'll probably move a second to extend her time period by 3 minutes. Is he on readiness at this time? Yes, Senator Hall.
Okay, senators, like I understand y'all don't want to be in here all night, but we're entitled to ask our questions. So I'm going to ask the maker of the motion to amend it at least for 5 minutes. That's in the middle.
I amend my motion to the motion. Wait, didn't that motion just like? Okay, never mind. I motion to extend Electoral Commissioner McKelton's time by additional 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is it probably moved to second? Is it probably moved to second her time official 4 minutes and 30 seconds?
Point of information, after a time period expires, you can always just move to extend it again.
All right. Is John ready? Decorum.
Point of information, you have to put a time period on it.
Yeah, I'm saying that you can extend it again after the time period expires. So it's no point.
To keep extending it, but we are, as a Senate, the nays have it, as we don't want to extend it that much.
There is decorum, please. All right.
That was point of information. Interject motion.
All in favor of extending her time ends by 4 minutes and 30 seconds, please signify by sign divide. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Please start the clock. You may begin now.
It was on Senator Eden.
Senator Eden?
Okay, yeah. In the state of Florida, it is illegal to not pay somebody for their labor. Those precinct supervisors, us as senators as well, because I'm vouching for us to get paid. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't want to do nothing on this campus. I just literally want to serve people at the same time. But at the same time, this stuff requires some time, and I need some type of compensation. So, in the state of Florida, like I said, it is illegal to not pay individuals for their labor. So, just keep that in mind. And I don't know how we didn't look at that when we're making this budget, but hey, I wasn't an active member when this voted on.
Decorum, please. Senator Hall, you have the floor. Decorum, please.
So, Electoral Commissioner Tim, if compensation is not a feasible thing to happen, what would be your request or recommendation or things that you would want to see from the student body as far as fixing this issue? Because right now we don't know how much carry forward it is. So allocated is looking how it's looking. And so I just want to know, like, what would you expect from us as far as like being able to fix this if compensation is not feasible? Because even like they said, even us, we're not getting compensated right at this moment.
Okay, so at that point, then I would move to amend Title VII at that, because we're only going by the document, so that would have to be a document change, signifying them as volunteers, extending the amount of precinct supervisors that I am allowed to have, so that way they're not on the schedule 4 or 5 times a week, and making their jobs as easy as possible, because at that point, they won't have to work as hard as they will have to, so then they won't have to waive an actual job that can pay them for the fact that they have to be in office. So at that point, it would have to be a total document change.
Follow up.
Follow up, Granted.
Do you know like what section of Title VII? What is it, Chapter 600 that says like or classifies them as whatever the entity would be to be considered like workers and not volunteers?
It's the fact that logically, okay, it's all through the documents because someone has to be in office at all times during the declaration of candidacy period as well as during the actual campaign period from 9 to 6. So logically, if it's only 8 precinct supervisors, a deputy, and a commissioner, and they're saying minimum 3 hours a week. If everyone was to abide by that, literally 3 or 4 hours a week, there wouldn't be anyone in office at all times. So finding that time period would literally have to be going from the beginning where they outline a campaign period for the first week of February from 9 to 6, Monday to Wednesday, calculating those hours, like dividing them by however many precinct supervisors are available, and then going from there, because it doesn't make sense. Like, if we were to do 3 hour a weeks, the office would not have anyone in it.
Okay, so
Final follow-up, Brandon.
oh yeah, sorry. Final follow up. All right. Okay, so like from this moment, from this conversation on, like, as of leaving tonight, what would you expect for this Senate body to do, or like what do you? Because we're gonna have this conversation, and then it's gonna be still an issue 2 weeks from now, and then a month from now. So, plan of action wise, what do we need to do to try to fix this issue for your commission?
It would be, while you guys are amending other titles, looking at the election code and amend that. That's really the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head, and I am big on damage control, so I'll probably have a full in-depth plan for you tomorrow when I have time to sit and think of an alternative to the alternative, would be a document amendment. So allow more precinct supervisors so that the ones that I do have don't have to work as many hours, because the office has to be fully staffed per Chapter 600.
Electoral Commissioner Trigg, your time period has expired.
Thank you.
Then our SRC chairman.
Up next, we'll have Ms. Simone Nisbet.
Hello, everyone. Excuse my appearance. Y'all look very snazzy today. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I was the Organization and Finance Committee Chair last year, and right now I am serving in as an office assistant in Joint Operations. I kind of have a couple of points, because I know just by asking some of you all, I guess, questions and things that might have been coming up, because I haven't been coming to the Senate meetings. So I just wanted to address some of those things. I'm probably going to run out of time, but I work upstairs Monday through Friday, so y'all can always come ask me anything. Okay, so just because it was the last thing that was talked about, administratively, there is a system that when students, because this is an extracurricular activity, as is any other thing as you serve as a student leader, you administratively are supposed to sign volunteer forms like the executive branch. Yes, the commissioners, not the commissioners, the deputies and secretaries can work, although they have not been confirmed in some places, because they have signed volunteer forms that allows them to do that. The same with the Electoral Commission. If they have not signed volunteer forms, then they should do that. That would be an administrative issue. But as it pertains to Florida law on pay, that's for people who work in administrative and professional roles, or OPS roles, that's other personnel staff, or other kinds of various roles where you are contracted to be paid. And so if you are not paid because you worked, then that's a problem at the university level, not as an extracurricular activity problem. Just to clarify there. Let's see. Now, as far as document revisions, because that did come up, although it was not a superlative last year, I wrote the most bills in the 46 Student Senate. I'm very proud of that. There are at least 3 titles that were already written, and there should be a motion, and I told these two, the JNR chairwoman and the OFC chair, that you guys somebody needs to make a motion for y'all to accept the document revisions that were done last summer. It's as simple as I move to accept, yada, yada, yada. And y'all will basically have 3 titles that are already finished. CAB is finished, so those new rules that people were coming up with, it was already done last year. So y'all won't have to reinvent the wheel on that. The SGA website, the finance codes was updated, although there are some tweaks that could still be made. And let's see. Okay, so You guys have training on Saturday. I hope everybody new especially can come. We're going to be covering more topics like the stuff that was discussed today in speaking and lobbying, as far as like with the pool, for instance. If you know about educational and general expense funds, you know that if an entity on campus hosts classes, then those people can go up for educational and general expense funds. So while you guys do have the responsibility to allocate to the campus, you have to keep in mind, like former OFC chair said, there's only so much money because we only have so many students. We are not looking at 14,000 students enrolled, and so we don't have the millions of dollars that we had. This budget was, $2.8 million, and that was cutting off, administrative stuff that had to go in today as well. So you guys have to focus on allocating equitably, and sometimes that means that not all entities will get the same amount of money, and that's okay. You just kind of do the best that you can. Let's see, did I cover everything? Okay, yeah, homecoming, profit versus revenue. There are lots of expenses that go into homecoming, and so when ticket sales happen, basically you get your revenue, you calculate how much you made, and then your profit might be this big. That doesn't mean that you had a terrible event. That doesn't mean that you didn't make any revenue. It means that your expenses were great, and if you made some kind of profit, that's good, because homecoming, I think we did 270-something thousand, 250-something thousand. So if we make any money from homecoming, it's a great thing. And let's see, finance code questions. Does anybody, because I heard somebody was asking about the finance code and whether it was valid or not. Does anyone have any questions about that or anything at all? No. Okay. Well, I look forward to having onboarding. Oh, got a question?
Senator McClinton?
Yes.
Yes, so on behalf of all the Senator, where are these documents?
On the SGA website. They are posted up. I cannot exactly remember which tab, but I encourage you to play around and see what's on there.
Point of information.
Yes.
You said where are those revisions located at? The revisions that were talked about, Title 1, 2, 3, all of those, and Title 4, they're all on the Senate group email under files, under the files tab. All of those that we voted on or those that will be on first reading in the coming weeks, they're all going to be on that tab.
Point of information, he's talking about the document revision.
For the summer?
Yes, for the summer.
FAMU, it's on the SGA website, documents. And that's just going to be the title, chapter 700. That's up there.
So I look forward to see. Oh, yes, Senator.
Senator, Ms. Nesbitt. Yes. I honestly just want to thank you for your hard work and dedication that you put into SGA. Like, it's really noticeable, and I just want you to know that. Like, you're actually one of those individuals that stayed behind and actually wants to help us and wants to succeed and everything else like that. And I just really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, you don't understand, especially with me, how much of a big help you have been, and especially with these document revisions and everything else like that. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm pretty sure everybody else is feeling the same way. Like, from the bottom of our hearts, like, thank you.
Well, thank you. I will say, although you guys are not getting compensated at this point, one of the things that you should focus on, and one of the things that I focused on during my time as a senator, was to do things that I could put on my resume, because that's going to be the biggest thing that you take away if you do what you're supposed to do as a senator and as a chair. I have companies that look at my resume now and it's like, oh, you manage this much money, you manage this many people. And it was as simple as me kind of just trying to do my best. I was not the best senator. I did not know everything that people who came before me knew, but I tried to do my job. And so that's all people really expect from you. Being a senator is not super hard. It's not some great feat, but all you have to do is just do your job. And just, there are so many things that you can do as a senator. Like the SAFE team was an initiative that was paid for out of the budget. And that's something that benefited me while I lived on campus, that made the campus safer. So you guys can have a very big impact on what happens on this campus in a major way. But you have to try. You have to make a plan of action and come up with something that you want to do, even if it's one initiative, one big thing, or even a couple small things. Get a plan for it together, talk to some people, get some feedback, and make it happen, because you can. You have a support system in this room. You have an excellent Senate president who is about the action, And you have a joint operations team who is there to help you succeed every step of the way. So I look forward, if there are no more questions, to helping you guys on Saturday. I will be here for training. Please come. It's really important that y'all know the stuff that we're going to talk about and get familiar with your chairs and your fellow senators. So thank you. That is all that I had to say.
SLT Chairman, do everybody else?
No, that'll be it for today.
Thank you. Now move on to senators back and now enter. Moving on to point K, ANS agency report. Do we have any this week?
Yes, we have Rochard. Yes. Then we would have you Senate President.
On what?
No. The one now. No. No. Okay, then move to next week. So no, we don't have any for today.
Senator Williams, just seeing how we have a new Senate, we have more senators now. I will behoove you to add them on to different agencies. That way, we also have 2 law school students as well. I know they can take up the law school agencies. Okay. And just send us out a new one with a different date so we can all be on one accord. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. I'll move you to the last. I'll move you to
the quorum on the DS. Moving on to point L, University Liaison Reports. I sent a memo to the SGA President and Vice President and also CC, the Chief of Staff. I still haven't got any word on who they pick for that. I'll ask them again this week when I see them. As of now, there's no University Liaison Reports. Move on to point M, second roll call, Senate Secretary.
Senator Solomon. Senator Hemphill. Senator Finley.
Here.
Senator Dumas.
Present.
Senator Antonoff.
Here.
Senator LaVille. Senator McClinton. Senator Seniors. Senator Osbury. Senator D. Ford. Senator D. Jackson.
Present.
Senator Jean Baptiste.
Here.
Senator Miller. Senator Butterfield.
Here.
Senator Knox. Senator Strong. Senator Myers.
Present.
Senator Young.
Here.
Senator Plazier. Senator Williams.
Here.
Senator J. Jackson.
Present.
Senator Hall.
Present.
Senator Rios.
Present.
Senator Eden.
Present.
Senator Osborne.
Present.
Senate Pro Temp Morissette.
Present.
Senate President Ford.
President.
And now I have to get the law school students I was going to ask for their name. The Senate. You know what I mean?
Senator
Mock.
Mock.
Senator Mock.
Present.
Senator Holder.
Present.
Thank you. Now we want to point in confirmations. Could all candidates except for David Bargamento please exit the chambers now? All except for David Bargamento. I'm so sorry for your name. Mr. Bargamento, you can now take the podium. EA Chairman, you now have the floor.
Okay, so good afternoon, good evening. This is Bargamento. How are you? How are you? So wonderful. So my name is Donnie Eden. I'm the Elections and Appointments Chairperson, Student Government Association. And on behalf of the Student Government Association, we want to thank you for your interest in wanting to serve the student body. So you have the option of a 2-minute opening, followed by a 10-minute question and answer period, followed by a 2-minute closing. You can begin at your just hold up before you begin. Jill, you begin.
Good evening. I am David Bargamento, a fourth-year business administration transfer student from Miami, Florida. I just want to say that before I transferred here, I was at a school in Charlotte, North Carolina, playing on a basketball scholarship. Had a tragic event happen to me where my appendix rupture, almost died. Transferred to Florida A&M, received a second chance, got my life together, and from then on, I've been on the road to success, being at FAMU. So I feel like it's my opportunity to give back and serve FAMU for what they've done to me. So this is why I'm here today.
All right. 5 senior senators. This is a senior senator, you guys. Okay. So, what is 7 of the 16 duties for a senator?
To enact the constitutional bylaws by majority vote, to take action on constitutional amendments, to provide access to the legislation, to make laws, create committees, to impeach SGA officials to be appointed or elected, to initiate the impeachment procedures, also to override vetoes from the SGA Senate.
That's good. What is the composition of the student senate?
We got 8 freshmen, 8 sophomores, 8 juniors, 8 seniors, and 3 graduates.
What is the order of succession within the student senate?
We have the Senate President Pro Tempore, J&R Chair. We have the ENA Chair. We have the Organization and Finance Chair, Student Relations, the Activities and Service Liaison, and we have the ISDC chair, and then after that is the vice chairs of all the committees.
Which committee is responsible for job audits within the student senate?
Job audits like that.
Relations and appointments committee. What is 4 out of 7 prohibited expenditures for NSU?
I know it's prohibited to spend money on Greek organizations, alcohol, beverages, anything illegal, basically, campaigns, organizations, like you can't subsidize the organizations. Also,
Who are the financial custodians of the student senate? What are the parliamentary procedures that are used within the student senate?
Robert Brewer.
Do you know who are the parliamentarians for the student senate? No? Okay. What are some initiative or platform points that you would implement into the student senate?
Like in the first interview, I explained how being a transfer student was hard for me, trying to get acclimated with the school and with the students and everything like that. So I'll say, my initiative would be to get involved with more of the transfer student side of everything, and the enrollment with them and just getting them acclimated with school. I feel like I'll be great with that, just being that I was a transfer student. So,
What is the GPA required to serve in the Senate leadership position, such as president or secretary? What about being a regular student?
2.5.
SGA stands on the motto of service and leadership. What community service do you currently have documented for us?
I have community service, but it's not documented, but I'm in the process.
I yield my time to Student Senator.
Senator Strong.
As in regards to trying to translation, how would you do that considering you already have a team of transportation business? Are you okay?
No, ma'am.
So,
Granted.
Follow up. How would you be able to reach out to transport?
Emails on top, communicate with the SGA president, and just basically get involved in that way. I'm not really familiar with how to do that, but when I get that knowledge and understand how it works, I would definitely communicate with the person involved.
Senator Lamar. Senator Lamar.
Being a senator would take numerous amount of hours out of your day sometimes, and throughout the week, how is your schedule?
My schedule is free on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so I'll definitely have time to serve.
Senator Rios.
What committee do you want to like join?
The organization of finance.
Is there a reason why?
Follow
up. Granted.
Well, mostly because I'm in the School of Business and Industry. We learn about different things with dealing with money, and I'm also good at budgeting and allocating, so I know what to do. I'm also, a part of fraternity where we deal with money at all times. So, I think that'll be a perfect committee for me.
Yes, Senator Hall.
Hello. So I think you just answered this, but what exactly is your major in SBI?
Business administration, concentration in marketing.
Concentration in marketing. Okay. I'm sorry. Follow up. So we like to view SGA as like a learning laboratory. So with you being a senior, when do you graduate? Okay. Follow up.
Granted.
So how would being in this position with your concentration in marketing and hopefully getting a position and being on OFC, how would that help you with your future endeavors as far as your career-centered track?
Well, I just plan on getting experience in marketing, but my overall journey is into entrepreneurship. But this will help me with marketing because I'm communicating with different students, dealing with different people with different opinions, and just learning how to be a leader and just learn how to deal with different people. And I think it's the perfect setting professionally. So for me,
Senator Hansberry.
I'm going to accept David Barton.
Second.
They're probably the second to accept this candidate for senior senator. Is going to write this at this time. Alrighty. Would the maker of the motion please stand for the first pro? Yes. No, you stand where.
As the maker of the motion, I'd like to that the argument to answer the question to the best of ability, those questions that were not answered. Learning is like to learn about all those questions. I'm going to be able to learn off the organization, the senator, through our end stage. And that's why I do the show.
First con. Second pro. Yes, Senator Bentley.
I grew up when I attended high school with Ravenhill, and I can say my husband is a very powerful person, and especially like you said, coming out of this injury, still being able to move on past what happens from he's here now, and I can tell he's ready to work hard and learn, and in order to be a leader, you have to learn to follow, and I can tell he's definitely willing to learn. Especially just as me, I have a lot of going through the same thing, being learned. So I think it would be great.
Thank you. Second con. Third pro. Yes, Senator Jackson.
I know Mr. Bargamento on a personal level. He's a very poised individual, very intelligent. I think he would be an asset for the student government body, as well as, helping us to learn and grow the new initiatives that we have. So I ask that you all vote in the affirmative of Mr. Bargamento.
Third con. Senator Secretary, roll call vote, please.
Senator Lamar.
In favor.
Senator Hemphill. Senator Finley. Senator Dumas.
Highly in favor.
Senator Antonar. Senator LaVille.
In favor.
Senator McClinton. Senator Seniors.
In favor of.
Senator Monk.
Yeah. Yes.
In favor?
Favor.
Senator Holder.
Yes. In favor.
Senator Hunt-Berry. Senator D. Ford. Senator D. Jackson.
Ward.
Senator Jean Baptiste.
In favor.
Senator Butterfield. Senator Strong. Senator Myers. Senator Young.
I am in favor.
Senator Pozier. Senator Williams.
4.
Senator J. Jackson.
4.
Senator Hall.
4.
Senator Rios.
Highly in favor of.
Senator Eden.
4.
Senator Osborne.
4.
Senate Pro Tem Moore.
4.
$26 4-0 against.
Congratulations, Mr. David. You are now a senior senator upon being sworn in. And yeah, you do have the option of a 2-minute closing.
I do want to say thank you for everybody for, first off, believing me. I know some of you guys don't know me personally, but I will definitely get to meet you all, and we can get acclimated to each other and understand what type of person I am and my intention for the school university. So I appreciate it once again.
You can take a seat.
Should we have the senior senators that get confirmed attend training?
Yes. So you can get out the floor.
Okay, so hello, Mr. Byron Carter. How are you today?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. I'm Donnie, the Elections and Appointments Chairperson for the 47th Student Senate, and on the behalf of Student Government Association, we would like to pretty much thank you for your interest in wanting to serve the student body in this capacity. So you have the option of a 2-minute opening, followed by a 10-minute question and answer period, followed by a 2-minute closing. You can begin at your discretion.
Okay, I will have an opening. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I am Byron Carter, a fourth-year political science major from Jacksonville, Florida. I just want to thank you for your time coming to the Senate meeting tonight, and hopefully I'm able to answer any questions that you may have. I look forward to, if I'm so fortunate to be in a position to be able to serve with you.
Okay, so what are 7 of the 16 duties of a senator?
To initiate impeachment proceedings for all SGA elected appointed officials, to impeach all elected officials in the SGA, to create its meeting times and rules of procedures, for SGA meetings based on the student body constitution. You want to also approve and allocate all ANS fees. We're going to make all rules and laws necessary and proper for the SGA to operate to its full capacity. You also want to take all necessary and proper actions on constitutional amendments as well as the student senate confirms all judicial and cabinet appointments by 2/3.
Okay. What is the composition of the student senate?
You have 8 senators from each class and 3 graduate senators, so 8 freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior, and 3 graduates.
Which committee is responsible for job audits within the student senate?
The elections.
After that job audit is completed, which SGA official does it go to?
Job audit will go to the SGA president.
Attorney General. What is the vote count for initiating an impeachment?
Majority vote.
1/3. What are 4 of the 7 prohibited expenditures of ANS fees?
Subsidizing any organization fees, any alcohol or any other legal substances. We cannot fund any Greek letter organizations or their affiliated council.
How acclimated are you with the legislative sections of the document, our student body documents?
I say I'm properly adequate. Excuse me. Wait.
Huh?
I'd say I have I have necessary knowledge of the legislative branch.
So, who's responsible for recording vote counts within the student senate?
The Senate Secretary.
What are the GPA what is the GPA required for the Senate President and Senate Pro Tem?
2.8.
What is the problem that you have seen on campus that you would like to fix if you were to be a senator?
Being a senior, like most any other seniors that are in here, probably would say that the climate of the campus is a lot different than when we first got here. And I do think SJ does have a role in that. And I'd like to try to change the climate of the campus and just the attitude we have towards SGA.
If approved for this position, would you have any potential conflict of interest?
No.
How familiar are you with constitutional amendments, Senate bills, resolutions, and special allocations?
I don't know what you mean.
Are you familiar with constitutional amendments, Senate bills, resolutions, and special allocations?
I am.
Okay. How much are ANS fees?
$10.50 per credit hour.
I yield my time to the student senate.
Yes, Senator D. Jackson.
If we confirm what committees that like to sit on and why?
Well, I am a political science major, so I lean naturally more towards the Judicial and Rules Committee. So I am interested in how the Judicial Rules Committee works within SGA or within even a micropolitan local governmental body.
Yes, Senator Butterfield.
Move to accept this nomination.
Second.
There's probably moving second to accept the nomination with no further questions. Is there a readiness at this time? Yes, Senator Rios.
I feel like there's a few other senators that would like to question the
Candidate?
Candidate, yeah.
Make a motion. Do you rescind your motion? Say that again? He does not rescind his motion. All righty. He does not rescind his motion. All right, is probably the second. Would make a motion, please stand for pro.
Point of information, you have to move to accept what you got going on.
Yeah.
My bad. All in favor of accepting this motion, please signify by a sign of aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it.
I rescind my motion.
All right. Decorum, please. Division of the House was called. called, so now the Senate Secretary will now do a roll. No, he never spent time enough. All right, so all in favor? RP, listen to me quiet. Decorum, because I'm only saying this one time. All right, if you say 4, you are in favor of Senator Butterfield's motion to accept this candidate. If you are you are saying nay, and you want to ask more questions. Everyone understand? All righty. Senator Secretary, please do a roll count vote, please.
Senator Lamar.
4.
Oh.
4. His motion.
Senator Hill.
4.
Senator Finley. Senator Dumas.
4.
Senator Antonor.
Against.
Senator LaVille.
4.
Senator McClinton. Sorry. Senator Seniors.
Against.
Senator Monk.
4.
Senator Holder.
4.
Senator D. Ford. Senator D. Jackson.
Yes.
Senator Jean Baptiste.
4.
Senator Butterfield.
4.
Senator Strong. Senator Myers. Senator Young. Senator Pozier. Senator Williams.
4.
I'm sorry, Senator Hansberry. Senator J. Jackson.
Firmly against.
Senator Hall.
Highly against.
Senator Rios.
Against.
Okay. Senator Eden.
Against.
Senator Osborne.
Against.
Senate Pro Tem Morissette. $13 for, 13 against. Yeah.
I'll just rescind it.
Yeah, I
Decorum, please. Highly against. So because
13 for, 14 against.
all right, so that means that the motion fails. So now we'll entertain more questions for the candidate. So you now the floor.
So, Mr. Brian, I know you ran for SGA Vice President in the spring. So, what made you want to come into the Student Senate?
Okay. Well, Byron, by the way. I wanted to join this. This is Brian. So my name's
I'm
Byron.
sorry.
But I wanted to join the Student Senate just because I want to serve the university. There were 5 senior openings, meaning there's 3 current senators, meaning they're doing a lot more work than they probably usually would or should. And honestly, it's a big question when you want to serve the university. But if anything, I think that it should be expected of you. I think it's an expectation that I should have, but it's not really me going out of my way to do something, more so a responsibility of mine for as long as I'm here, try to make where I'm at better. And that's all I want to do.
Senator J. Jackson.
How do you exhibit school spirit, and what makes you a good representative of the graduate class? Well, the senior class.
How do I exhibit school spirit?
Yes.
Well, I mean, to start with, I have been here for 4 years, so I've gone to countless different events. I've gone to games. I wear FAMU stuff all the time. Anybody you know, you check my Instagram page, it looks like a FAMU group page. I have FAMU everywhere. That's kind of, it's almost part of my brand at this point. I can't really think of any other ways that I exhibit school spirit. I really think I'm as rattler as it gets for localism for it.
Senator Myers.
So earlier on in the interview, you spoke on what touched on how the scene might be changing. So as far as that, what changes you say you would make to sort of mitigate this problem?
Well, to expound upon what I mean with the climate change, it's kind of touching on what I spoke on earlier. My freshman year, at least, it wasn't something that you had to ask them, why do you want to be a part of SGA? Why do you want to be a part of this? That was something that was expected of you. That was something that everybody did. Everybody was a part of something. The school spirit is it's hard for me to explain coming from a senior who's seen it and to someone who may not have seen it. I don't know if you're a senior or not, but I feel like I can help add to change that just because for this long I've been just a regular student. I'm just a member of the student body, and I think I can help form initiatives that would bring people, just regular students like myself, closer to SGA. I mean, if you ask yourself this, like, who do you see in this room that you haven't seen in this room before? So I think I can add to bring at least somebody in here that doesn't come to the meeting every Monday, which really does you're speaking to the choir, you're preaching to the choir.
Follow up granted.
So
right, I just like I said, when I was speaking with the ENA board, I'd say over 2 weeks ago, an initiative that I was thinking about is because, like I said, you don't really see very many new faces in here Monday to Monday. It'd be as easy as we have an event right here on the set. Come out, get some snacks, some refreshments. We got drinks, free food, college students, cool. We've got everybody right here on the set. Monday at 5 o'clock. Here we are at 6. We already have people in the area. Let's migrate right into the Senate chambers for the meeting. At least somebody's gonna come. We're already right here. We catch them, get them where they are.
Senator Strong.
Have you been in any follow-up for you? Follow-up?
Follow-up granted.
Have you been involved in HGA in the past besides running for HGA?
Other than volunteering, no, I have not. Not in an official capacity.
Final follow-up granted.
Why now?
Well, actually, I guess it'd be more background on myself. This isn't the first time that I've come up in front of the board. I came up in front of the ENA board on a previous occasion years ago and did not get a favorable recommendation. So this is not the first attempt that I've made to serve in this capacity. This is one of many attempts that I've made to serve at the university, some being failed, some success.
Yes, Senator D. Jackson.
Second.
And then probably move a second. Accept this candidate. Is there on readiness at this time? Sorry about that. Is there any readiness at this time for the main motion? Seeing none, will the maker motion please stand for the first pro?
Point of information, we have whether or not
You didn't say
All in favor, signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The maker motion please stand to do the first pro.
All right. Hey, everybody. I think that Mr. Carter would be a good fit for the Senate. He was able to answer all the questions. I see him around campus. He seems like a pretty genuine guy. We talk to him. We can tell he's very engaged with the students. And I think that he would be a great fit for the Senate. So I'm going to ask him.
First con. Second pro. Yes, Senator Lamar, right now.
Mr. Carter, he did put a good case, and something that he said struck my attention, that you do see the same people here Monday to Monday, the same people running for office. So that's something that did strike my attention, because me personally coming up as a freshman senator and going to declaration, I seen it very awkward that you seen more upperclassmen, the same people over and over at declaration to hear what these people have to bring to the school, than people who just get in here and need to get involved. So that is something that I'm willing to go to bat with about. That is something that we do need to change here. Being different faces, because other people do have voices, they just don't know So,
Second con. Third pro. Yes, sir, Dumas.
Mr. Carter, he struck my attention when he said that he failed when he came up to the ENA to get approval, and then also when he ran for SGA president and vice president, for someone to stick out 3 times, like twice struck out 3 times and not get anywhere, and then go a 3rd time for it, it just shows his dedication and his heart for wanting to serve the class. So I say you all vote highly in favor.
Third con. All right, Senator Secretary, roll call vote.
Senator Lamar. Senator Hemphill. Senator Finley. Senator Dumas. Senator Antonor. Senator LaVille. Senator McClinton. Senator Seniors. Senator Mock.
4.
Senator Holder.
Favor, highly in favor.
Senator Hansberry.
4.
Senator D. Ford. Senator D. Jackson. Senator Jean Baptiste.
4.
Senator Butterfield. Senator Strong.
4.
Senator Myers. Senator Young. Senator Pozier. Senator Williams.
4.
Senator J. Jackson.
4.
Senator Hall.
In favor of.
Senator Rios.
4.
Senator Eden.
Abstain.
Senator Osborne.
4.
Senator Pro Tem Morissette.
4.
Senator Butterfield.
4.
Senator Eden.
Abstain.
25-4-1 abstain.
Congratulations. I say you know that one.
So congratulations, Byron. Congratulations, Mr. Byron Carter. You are now a senior senator upon confirmation. And you do have the option of a 2-minute code.
I won't use all 2 minutes, but I just wanted to thank everybody for your time. Thank you for coming out to tonight's meeting. I appreciate those of you who are voting and voting or against me. I appreciate the time. And I look forward to working with you all. That's all I have.
Oh, you can now send the back. Senator, question? Temporary, permanent or temporary exit? Do you permanently, are you coming back or no? Okay. You have 15 minutes. You may leave. Yes. You got your own press spot, 15 minutes. Senator Young, can you please take the SRC chair? You may navigate, Sir Dean.
Hello, Mr. Jeremiah Carter. How
Good
are
evening.
you?
I'm doing good.
That's wonderful. So greetings. I am Don Eden, the Elections and Appointments Chairperson for the 47th Student Senate, and on the behalf of Student Government Association, I would like to, we would like to thank you for your interest in wanting to serve the student body in this capacity. So you do have the option of a 2-minute open, followed by a 10-minute question and answer period, followed by a 2-minute. You can begin your discussion.
I'll do the 2-minute opening. The 2-minute opening. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Senate President, Mr. Pro Tem, Chairman Eden, student body, fellow senators. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to stand before you. It seems like yesterday I was standing before you all, but in a different position. I had the privilege of serving student government as y'all Attorney General during the spring semester. And now I'm back ready to serve not only the class of 2018, but Florida A&M on a whole as senior senator. Sorry. Wait, y'all. Senior.
If confirmed, I look forward to working with you all. And if I'm not confirmed, I will continue to be a student advocate for our students here on campus. Thank you.
All righty. So what is the composition of the Student Senate?
The composition of the Student Senate: 8 senators from the 4 academic classes and 3 graduate senators.
Okay. What are 7 of the 16 duties of the Senate?
7 duties: initiate impeachment, impeach elected SGA officials, override the president's vetoes, override the president if he tries to veto something.
Right.
Approve and allocate A&S fees. Approve and allocate A&S fees. Issue out resolutions to acknowledge someone. Investigate the use of activity and service fees. Create committees if deemed necessary.
Okay. All right. Moving on. So, what are the 5 standing committees within the Student Senate?
Judicial and Rules, Elections and Appointments, Senate Executive Committee, Organization and Finance, and Student Relations Committee.
Nice. What are the documents that the Student Senate govern themselves by?
The Student Senate is governed by the legislative rules.
Do you know what those rules are? Like, what are the documents?
Oh, inside of the statutes.
The statutes is one. Yeah.
Oh, and the Constitution.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
So, what are 4 of the 7 prohibited expenditures of the Student Senate?
4 of the prohibited expenditures are: you can't use money for booster clubs. You can't support political organizations, candidates, or parties. And you cannot support Greek-affiliated organizations, such as Sweethearts, interest meetings.
That's 3? You said 4. I think you said 3? Yeah. One more?
One more. Illegal substance.
Okay. So, what are the financial custodians of the Student Senate?
The Organization Finance Chair and the Senate President.
Who's responsible for conducting job audits within the Student Senate?
Job audits are conducted by the Elections and Appointments Committee.
Nice. So, what is the vote count for initiating an impeachment proceeding?
2/3.
1/3.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. What are the parliamentary procedures used within the Student Senate?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What are the parliamentary procedures used within the Student Senate?
The parliamentary procedures, what documents they use, that's what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Robert Rules of Order?
Nice. Decorum, please. Will you be able to commit fully to your position?
Yes.
What is a problem that you've seen on campus that you like to?
There are a lot of problems I see on this campus. In particular, one of my biggest problems I see is safety and security for our students here on campus. I remember when I first got back here on campus, a few students ran up to me that stayed in Palmetto South, North, and Fays, and they were concerned about their security. Also in the scholarship houses. And they were saying, are you going to do something about it? I said, well, school just started back. Let me get back in the groove of things, and I'll see what I can do to work on that. Also, accountability. It's time that we hold some of these leaders on campus accountable. We have a lot of leaders in positions, and they're just there, but they're not doing anything. And it's time for FAMU students to wake up and realize that we cannot move forward if we still have student leaders in place that are not doing anything with the positions that they're in.
I yield my time to the
to the student senate.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Hi.
So you said you worked as Attorney General last year on E-Branch. So, like, what made you want to, like, switch and go to O-Branch rather than serving at E-Branch again?
Well, I served as Attorney General during the spring semester. I only served for 28 days. And during that time, once I was relieved of my duties, I said to myself, well, what do I want to do next? I didn't want to just jump to something. I did apply for a position within the E-Branch. I applied for Attorney General once again. But after I completed the whole process of being interviewed, I got a phone call saying, we think you should be in this position. And I turned down that position because it wasn't communicated to me at my interview that they wanted me to be in that position. So I said, you know what? Let me give the Senate a shot. Class of 2018 and also FAMU on the whole needs strong leaders. And I think I'll do a tremendous job serving in the Student Senate and also serving class of 2018 and also the students on the whole.
Yes, Senator D. Jackson.
What's up?
Hi.
Can you touch a little bit on your experience as Attorney General and what you learned in addition?
Well, I was only Attorney General for 28 days. And in my opinion, after I got confirmed by the former president, that Thursday, SGA went downhill because I got a message that somebody was declared our president. And in an instant, I had to work expeditiously to ensure to our students that student government is working and functioning. So what I learned as Attorney General was I have a strong work ethic, and I work good under pressure because, and I'm committed to the job. That day when I found out Trustee Bruno and Devin Harrison was declared president, I didn't leave this SGA building until about 12 midnight on my first day as Attorney General, going through the documents, making sure that whatever I present to the student body is something that they can understand. So as Attorney General, during that 28 days, a lot of stuff was exposed to me, the culture here on FAMU's campus, but also I had a chance to get to know myself and my work ethic, and I realized I work good under pressure, but I don't I don't like doing that a lot. But yeah.
Yes, Senator Pro Temp.
How are you doing tonight, Mr. Carter?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. You touched on it a little bit during while you were being interviewed by Chairman Eden, but how do you feel about SGA's presence on this campus? Do you, as a student, do you feel like we're absent as a whole? You can be honest.
Yes. Yes and no. I'm going to just be honest with you. Yes and no. And it starts from the top up. It starts from the top up and on down. I understand that our president is there, but I haven't seen him since he was sworn in. I haven't heard, I understand there was homecoming and whatnot, but I haven't heard a full message given to the student body about some of the initiatives that he was going to do this semester, or during his tenure as president. But you all do have a heavy presence, though. This Senate, I can say, has a heavy presence. I'm going to split it up. I've seen you, Mr. Eden, a lot of senators I may not know by name, but I've seen you all on campus working extremely hard to make sure our students get what they need.
Follow up.
Granted.
When do you graduate?
I graduate fall 2018.
Senator Seniors.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes. Do you feel that you'll be able to have a good working relationship with President Bruno and Vice President Devin? Because it sounds like you have a touch of animosity and you don't need a division and it's time to struggle. You're saying that it starts to pop up until you haven't seen him. And I don't like to judge because, being president is hard.
Mm-hmm.
People go through things. So I don't like to shed any light on it. So I think we need to be more cohesive. And so I want to come to the Senate with a great attitude and spirit, not attacking our E-Branch, the leaders of our E-Branch. They're doing a great, excellent job. So I just want to know, will you be able to work with them effectively?
Yes, and I'm going to give you a prime example of working with them effectively. Right after I was relieved of my duties, I received a phone call. I received an email from the president requesting my presence to spend 2 days at the Capitol and advocate for our students. And I said, you know what? It's time to move forward. And I went. And that's a clear sign of true leadership, of moving forward. And I thanked him for that opportunity, for letting me go to the Capitol and speak on behalf of FAMU students.
Mr. Carter, your question and answer time period has expired.
Yes.
You have the option of a 2 minute. You have the option of a 2 minute close.
I thank you all for your questions, and I look forward to working with you all if I am confirmed. I am ready to get in the Senate and work expeditiously with everyone across the board to make sure our students have a wonderful time here at this illustrious institution. And if I'm not confirmed, I'll continue to work hard for our students. I thank you, and I appreciate all of you for letting me come before you.
Yes, Pro Shop.
If there are no further questions, which can't be said anyways, I move to accept this candidate for the position of senior senator.
It'll probably be the second to accept this candidate position of senior senator. Is there any readiness at this time to the main motion? Seeing none, all fair, please signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. I will make a motion. Please stand to be the first cry.
I ask that you all vote in the affirmative for Mr. Carter because I've seen his work ethic firsthand as Attorney General, even though he did serve for 28 days. Mr. Carter was always here. He was always he was always upstairs or downstairs doing his due diligence. He even served as on in a court case. So he did his job, and I see the work ethic is there. The work ethic is definitely there. So I ask that you all vote in the affirmative for this candidate.
First con. Second pro. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I ask that you guys vote in the affirmative for Mr. Carter. I met him personally in the spring, and he's very, very passionate about SGA, and he really wants to come in and work. So I just ask that you guys vote in the affirmative of him.
Second con. Third pro. Yes, Senator Williams.
Oh, okay. I ask that you guys vote in the affirmative of him because even though, there was some shed and it may seem that he wanted division, if you worked last spring, a lot of us were frustrated, so I don't want that to sway your vote because I don't think he has a problem with anybody. But yeah, I did see his work ethic and he was always in SGA, he hit the ground running when we accepted him, so I just ask that you vote in the affirmative of him.
Third con. All right, Senate Secretary, roll call vote, please.
Senator Lamar. Senator Hemphill. Senator Dumas. Senator Antonor. Senator LaVille. Senator McClinton. Senator Seniors. Senator Monk.